Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So, the moment that you all have been waiting for is finally here. That's right, you've all been waiting for a full year for this, right? The Golden Pig Awards of 2022. That's right, my pick for my favorite commanders from the last year. I mean, we had a ton of commanders last year, 425 commanders, or something around that. I think that includes backgrounds as well, but of course there's background variations as well. So, maybe even more than that, really, if you actually kind of, utilize those. But that's kind of beside the point. What is the point, though, is on this episode, I'm going to be talking about my top 10 commanders from the year, my favorite commanders. These might not be the most powerful commanders. They might be powerful. The tier list rankings is a completely separate episode. But yeah, these are just my favorite commanders for one reason or another. And I'm going to tell you why. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump into it. So let's start things off in 10th place with Ivy Gleeful Spell Thief, a 2/1 fairy rogue with flying that costs green-blue that says, whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy Gleeful Spell Thief, you may copy that spell. The copy targets Ivy. A copy of an aura spell becomes a token. Nice little reminder right there. Yeah, this is a commander that does something incredibly unique. It is something that takes Simic in a different direction. It's not just, hey, draw cards. Hey, make lands into play. Yeah, this is actually, hey, here's a way to make value in a different and unique way. And not only does it count whenever you are actually targeting your other creatures, it counts when your opponents target them as well. So yeah, any creature that is targeted essentially can give extra value to you. And of course, you can go about this in a lot of different ways. And of course, that little reminder text on this is a nice little indication of one way that you might take this commander. But of course, again, there are a lot of unique ways that you can take it, a lot of ways you can do some incredibly powerful and incredibly value-driven things. So first up, let's talk about some cards like, oh, I don't know, maybe Migratory Greathorn, a mutate creature. That's right, mutate creatures that work incredibly well with this commander. This is a great mechanic for the commander. Mutate for 2 and a green. If you cast a spell for its mutate cost, you put over and under another target non-human creature you own. They mutate the creature on top of it, also abilities from under it. Whenever this creature mutates, search library, basically in card on the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. So, mutating is targeting. That means that if you target, again, a non-Ivy creature, something else other than Ivy, you get to mutate with that, and you also get to mutate onto Ivy as well, so you can get this trigger twice. And yeah, there are a lot of great mutate triggers. Next up, a simple card like Virtus and Wisp can be great in this deck. Target creature comes green until end of turn and gets +1/+0. That's nice. The important part is, though, it's an instant for just a green mana that lets you draw a card. When you are doing that, of course, well, yeah, if you just target any creature other than Ivy, cool. Draw a card there. Then you get a copy that targets Ivy, draw a card there as well. Same thing with Frog Tongue. Yes, even this just off-the-wall enchantment can help as well. It's an aura. It does not say aura, but it's an old card. Here we go. It's Oracle texted. Anyways, just a single green mana, enters the battlefield, draw a card, and sure, the enchanted creature can block creatures with flying. Great, it's got reach. Cool. What's important, again, is that you're getting 2 enchantments into play, and you are drawing 2 cards again for just a single mana. Now, of course, enchantments is a direction that you can really focus with this deck, especially with auras. Meltus Astronomer is a great card that can really help you out with them too. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Meltus Astronomer, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal an enchantment card from among them on your hand. Put the rest of them in your library in any order. So this one just says, hey, you know what? You can target any other creature, right, other than Ivy and get that trigger. Why not target me? Get some extra value out of this, essentially. Start getting even more auras off the top of our library for even more value. Again, just something as simple as that Frog Tongue can provide a lot of value, and this can provide you even more by giving you a target for those kinds of cards. Next up, Gnarlback Rhino. Hey, a great target as well. Target me, target me. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Gnarlback Rhino, draw a card. So yeah, getting even more value throughout the game. Again, I did say that Ivy does not focus on card draw, right? But of course, you are in Simic. You've got ways to draw a ton of cards with this, some great interactions. You also got ways to save a lot of mana throughout the game with Spellwild Oof. Spells that target Spellwild Oof cost 2 less to play. I mean, how many decks does this see play in? Like none outside of Ivy decks, because yeah, this is an incredibly impactful card in this kind of a deck and just kind of weird elsewhere. So yeah, a great card that can really save you a lot of mana throughout the game, can lead to some really big plays. And again, Ivy is it's just a value engine in a different kind of way, and a very unique one at that. So yeah, Ivy, congratulations again on your 10th place finish. But next up, we are moving on to number 9 with Rocco Cabaretti Caterer, a 3/1 elf druid for X, red, green, white. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you may search for life for a creature card with mana value X or less on the battlefield, then shuffle. Yeah, this is a commander that can be taken in a lot of different directions. It's just an uncommon, but this is definitely not an uncommon effect. I mean, now you've got a commander in the command zone that can tutor out creatures. Basically, hey, whatever creature you need for the situation that you're in, or if you want to build your deck specifically around a certain creature, now you can. Well, as long as that creature's a Naya, but now you can. So yeah, Rocco is definitely a very impactful commander. One that I, well, wasn't really expecting to see this year, and definitely not the common or uncommon spot. So yeah, Rocco, congratulations on your 9th place finish. Now we'll talk about some cards that work really well with you. I mean, hey, again, like I mentioned, if you want to build an entire deck around a different creature, if you want like a secret commander in that deck, Rocco is a perfect commander for this. Can go get it right away. So yeah, Taminoa, a 2/4 spirit that definitely should be legendary. No idea why it's not legendary. My goodness, Wizards, why wasn't this legendary? Errata it. Anyways, whenever a non-creature source you control deals damage, you gain that much life. Oh my goodness, what an effect. A fantastic effect. And yeah, one that yeah, can be very fun to build around, especially again if you can consistently get it out with a commander like Rocco. So yeah, that definitely, again, it has a lot of potential for a secret commander type build. Or you can just utilize as a toolbox commander too. I mean, Reclamation Sage enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Scavenging Ooze, a great graveyard hate card. Pay a green, exile a card from graveyard. Say creature, get a counter on it, you gain 1 life. Yeah, whatever situation that you're in, if you need to get rid of an artifact or enchantment, you need to get rid of someone's graveyard, there's a lot of different plays with that. You can also utilize, hate bears in your deck, so you can go get the right hate bear against the right player that you need for that kind of situation. So yeah, again, just a lot of versatility for a commander like this. Speaking of which, Temur Sabertooth, a great card for a commander like this because it lets you utilize your commander again. Pay 1 green, bounce a creature back to your hand. If you do, Temur Sabertooth gains indestructible until end of turn. So yeah, just pay that mana, bounce your commander back to your hand, utilize it again by casting it so that you can go get another creature. And of course, this has a lot of combo potential as well. Devoted Druid, a great low to the ground creature, tap for a green, put a -1/-1 counter on it, untap Devoted Druid, and this comes with Zero Remedies, another low to the ground creature. If one or more -1/-1 counters are put on a creature you control, that many -1/-1 counters -1 are put on instead. So basically, you can just infinitely tap and untap your Devoted Druid, and make infinite green mana. And of course, with Temur Sabertooth, well then yeah, you can infinitely bounce other creatures back to your hand and just keep recasting them. You can bounce your commander back to your hand, as long as you've got the green and red mana for that, to then cast your commander, go get exactly what you need to win. So yeah, there's a lot of different directions you can take Rocco, a very exciting brand new commander. And again, Rocco, congratulations on your 9th place finish. Next up, let's move on to number 8 with Toulouse Clever Conductor, a 3/1 human rogue for Azorius Blue Dimir. Enters the battlefield, it's going to connive, which means draw 1, discard 1. If you discard a non-land, you get a counter on it. That's nice, but the most important thing is, whenever you discard 1 or more cards, exile them from your graveyard. When Toulouse dies, put the cards exiled with it into their owner's hand. Basically, a great way to store up cards. Essentially, kind of like a bag of holding, a way to get a ton of value, even more value out of certain cards that might provide you, again, some card selection, maybe some ways to draw and discard. And then instead of just actually losing those cards forever, hey, I'll just store these for you. When I go away, you're getting them back. So it's kind of like a stored up second hand, and can be a massive hand at that, and give you a ton of value. And of course, there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with this commander. Now, when it comes to some cards that work well with it, yeah, Frantic Search is a great one. Hey, draw 2, discard 2, untap 3 lands. Basically a free spell in many circumstances. I mean, or in every circumstance, and in some circumstances, it actually is a spell that can actually net you mana. Again, if you've got, like a bounce land. On top of that, though, of course, this is a free looting effect. Basically, draw 2, discard 2. Now that looting actually turns into even more card advantage, because while you're drawing those 2 cards, Toulouse is going to hold on to those other 2 cards that you discarded, so you can get them back at some point and then utilize them again. Tolarian Winds, again, another kind of a wheel effect. Hey, discard your hand, draw that many cards. Again, the hand that you got rid of, you will see again at some point. Even something as simple as Ash Barrens or other cards with cycling. Ash Barrens has basic land cycling. Pay 1, discard it, go get a basic land. You can just store up, get it back, and utilize as a land drop later, or, basic land cycled away later too. But yeah, there's plenty of fantastic cards with cycling in these colors. Also, yeah, Village Rites, a great card with this commander. Hey, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. At some point, you're going to want to get those cards back. You're going to be like, Toulouse, I kind of need you to die. So, yeah, let's get some value out of that. Let's, sacrifice you. Let's get that trigger. Let's get those cards back Let's draw those cards. Viserys here, another great way to sacrifice, your commander as well. Of course, there are plenty of great sacrifice outlets in these colors. This one's a great one. Sacrifice a creature, scry 1, so even more card selection. And then, of course, some Feign Death cards like Undying Malice. Hey, until end of turn, target creature gains. When this creature dies, return to the battlefield, tap to control the counter on it. Hey, Toulouse, you know what? I need you to go away, but I need you to come right back because I'm going to need some more value. And of course, again, this is another way to take advantage of Toulouse's ETB as well. So yeah, definitely an interesting commander. Again, kind of like a bag of holding as a commander, and one that really, really struck me, and one that I definitely like the design of. So again, Toulouse, congratulations on your 8th place finish. But now it's time for us to move on to 7th place with Mazzy True Sword Paladin, a 3/4 halfling knight that costs 1 red, green, white. Whenever an enchanted creature attacks one of your opponents, it gets +2/+0, gains trample until end of turn. So that's nice, but more importantly, whenever an aura you control is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, exile until the end of your next turn, you may cast that card. Now, first off, there are a couple of ways that you can build around this commander. I mean, one of them is actually just, hey, I'm going to get a lot of auras on a lot of creatures. I can even make some deals with opponents and be like, hey, I don't like that other player over there, so I'm going to give this aura to your creature. You mind going and attacking somewhere else? Or maybe, it's a goading aura too, which can kind of force that. That can actually, be a great way to deal extra damage to those other players. Again, +2/+0 in trample. That's nice. Now, the value-centric way to build around this commander, though, is to really focus on that second part. Hey, if my aura hits my graveyard, I get it, right back until end of turn and keep casting it. So yeah, there's some really, really exciting ways that you can utilize this commander. And this commander, which I absolutely love, lets you utilize some basically otherwise useless cards. Cards that essentially see absolutely no play in commander, but they are incredible with this commander. And yeah, those kinds of commanders I absolutely love. So let's talk about some cards that, well, you probably never see in commander, but can work great with this one. Carapace, enchanted creature gets +0/+2, sacrifice it, regenerate enchanted creature. Yeah, I mean, this is a way to just essentially get it right back. Hey, if you put this into play, you can sacrifice it to regenerate the creature. It's going to come back. You can recast it, and we'll talk about some ways to get value out of recasting it. Crackling Club, +1/+0, sacrifice it. Deals 1 damage to our creature. Cool. Hey, again, a way to sacrifice it, a way to get it right back, again, for just 1 mana. Briar Shield, sacrifice, enchanted creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. A nice little kind of, giant growth pumping effect, essentially, but one that you can also, again, just get right back. So yeah, this can basically just be, hey, pay a green, giant growth, pay green, giant growth. Keep doing that again and again and again. And yeah, when it comes to value also, Unbridled Growth. This one is probably the best of these little sacrifice auras. Enchanted Land has tap at 1 mana of any color in your mana pool, which is nice. And also sacrifice it, draw a card. So this is how you can get a ton of value out of a commander like this. Essentially just, hey, okay, get this on a land, tap it for a mana, probably a green mana, sacrifice it, and then draw a card. This is going to, go into exile. You can recast it. So yeah, just put this, on another land, essentially. Tap that land for a green mana, sacrifice it, draw a card. Keep doing this essentially. Basically, hey, draw a card for every single one of the lands that you control. So yeah, you can do a lot of work with this. And of course, when it comes to doing a lot of work, Enchantress effects can do an incredible job in a deck like this. Mace Enchantress says, or you cast an enchantment spell, you may draw a card. Again, being able to just kind of loop these enchantments, these small low to the ground enchantments again and again and again, sacrificing them, cast them from exile, getting a ton of value out of them. Yeah, what's not to love? Speaking of that, yeah, you gotta finish your opponents off eventually, and you can do so in a big flashy way with Sigil of the Empty Throne. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Just cast again these small low to the ground enchantments again and again and again. Flood the board with angels and have fun taking out your opponents. So yeah, Mazzy definitely goes about value in a different way. Lets you utilize some really off the wall cards. And yeah, again, really can highlight cards that you probably don't see anywhere else. And that's why I absolutely love Mazzy. Again, Mazzy, congratulations on your 7th place finish. Next up, though, let's move on to number 6 with Tivit, Seller of Secrets, a 6/6 Sphinx Rogue with flying and ward 3 that costs 3 white, blue, black. It has Council's Dilemma. Whenever it enters the battlefield or deals combat damage to a player, starting with you, each player votes for evidence or bribery. For each evidence, vote investigate. For each bribery, vote create a treasure token. And while voting, you may vote an additional time. So yeah, this commander has a ton of value potential. Again, on ETB or combat damage, you're going to start a massive vote. Basically, again, in a game of commander, let's just say, again, you've got all 4 players in play. Cool. That's going to be 4 votes plus the additional vote that you get. You're going to be probably choosing treasure tokens. Your opponents, well, probably don't want to give you treasure tokens. At some point, they might, depending on how you're set up. But yeah, at the very least, you're getting 5 tokens in total just for this coming into play or hitting a player. And yeah, I mean, that's either, 2 treasure tokens or 3, clues essentially, or, some combination in between. So again, a lot of value, a lot of tokens that of course you can do a lot of cool things with. And yeah, again, a commander that can utilize, again, voting as a strategy. And of course, with that, yeah, there are other ways to take advantage of voting as well, like Brago's representative. While voting, you get an additional vote. So yeah, again, on top of the extra vote that you get with your commander, you now get another extra vote. So you vote 3 times, 1 for each of your opponents, essentially. So yeah, you're going to be getting a ton of extra value with that. And then how about cards like, Ephemerate? Speaking of extra value, basically, exile creature control, return to the battlefield under control, so blinking a creature, and it rebounds so you can cast it again. Again, you can really take advantage of your commander's trigger with this quite easily for a ton of value. You're basically netting mana with this, again, if you choose, to get 2 treasures. So yeah, you can get a lot of value out of blink effects. And of course, repeat blink effects can be great as well. Soul Herder is a great one. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile a target creature you control and return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. A great Conjurer's Closet type effect, essentially, that just lets you just keep getting more and more value out of your commander. Speaking of which, hey, your commander also gets value out of hitting players, right? So let's give it Double Strike, Duelist Heritage. It's a great way to get a double trigger off of your commander hitting. Whenever one of our creatures attack, you may have target attacking creature gain double strike until end of turn. This can also be a great political card that you can utilize to, hey, opponent, we both don't like that other player over there, right? Well, if you swing at that player, I'll give your creature double strike. So have fun with that. But yeah, even with just your commander, this is a great way to, again, make that vote happen in extra time. Erdwall Illuminator. Speaking of extra, hey, when you investigate for the first time each turn, investigate additional time. Here's just an extra free clue token for you, just for this being in play. Now again, with all these tokens, of course, there's a lot of exciting things that you can do with them, and perhaps the most exciting, most deadly is, well, maybe utilizing some ways to sacrifice them, and drain your opponents with Marionette Master. Fabricate 3, basically when it enters the battlefield, you're going to get 3 counters on it, or make 3 tokens, probably the 3 counters. Nerd artifact you control something great from the battlefield. Target opponent loses life, go to Marionette Master's power. Drain someone for 4 for every single token you make. Again, with your commander, you're going to be making basically 5 tokens at the very least every single time it enters the battlefield or hits a player. Of course, there are ways to make even more. But yeah, now when you sacrifice them, drain your opponents incredibly quickly. So yeah, this is a commander that, again, utilizes voting. I really like that kind of a concept. It's a very exciting commander. Tivit, again, congratulations on your 6th place finish. But now it's time for us to move on to number 5 with Helzi Toolbox Torre, a 3/3 double rogue for black, red, green. Each creature spell you cast with mana value 4 or greater has Blitz. The Blitz cost is equal to its mana cost. And that means basically you can choose to cast that spell for its Blitz cost. If you do, it gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card. Sacrifice to begin the next end step. Blitz cost you pay cost 1 less for each time you cast your commander from the command zone this game. This commander has a lot of potential with an aristocrat style strategy kind of build, and also one that can do it in a unique way. Again, giving your creatures Blitz can help you do some incredible things. And again, this is a commander that actually wants to be dealt with. It wants you to say, hey, you know what? I'm okay with going back to the command zone, because if you keep recasting me, you're going to get more value out of your blitzing, and you can do some pretty broken things once you're set up properly. I mean, you can even just utilize cards like, a Ruthless Knave to sacrifice your commander ruthlessly and be like, hey, you know what, commander? I like you, but I want you back in that command zone so I can recast you. And Ruthless Knave is going to help me actually get some mana to help recast you. Pay 2 and a black, sacrifice a creature, create 2 treasure tokens. So yeah, utilize those treasure tokens to essentially just, pay for that commander tax that you're going to have to pay. You can just keep doing that again and again and again to actually, work up some more value out of your commander. Again, getting your Blitz costs down. And of course, there's other sacrifice outlets as well that you can utilize, some free ones like, Goblin Bombardment, sacrifice a creature, paying something for 1. And this, of course, can work very well with your other creatures that you're going to want to sacrifice as well for value, because again, when those creatures die, you draw a card, the ones that you blitz out. So, I mean, Ancestral Statue, you actually aren't going to want to sacrifice most likely. Maybe you do. Maybe you want to bounce something else back. But yeah, the goal of this commander in some circumstances is, well, to just kind of build around, 4 mana value creatures and then make the most out of them. Make the most out of them with like Ancestral Statue. Hey, if I get to a cost reduction of 4 with my commander, Ancestral Statue is free, enters the battlefield, returning non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. That includes itself, so you can just keep casting it for free again and again and again and again. And if you've got something like an Impact Tremors in play, your opponents are gone. So you can definitely build some combo potential into this commander. commander. Jorah's Familiar, another card that can be incredible. Again, 4 mana value creature. Historic spells you cast cost 1 to cast. That reduces the cost of not only your commander, but a lot of artifacts as well. And yeah, there's some pretty broken things that you can do with artifacts with this commander. And then, yeah, utilize, your Goblin Bombardment to sacrifice, things like this and your other, creatures for something like Fecundity. Whenever a creature dies, creature's controller may draw a card. So instead of just drawing 1 card off that blitz, you're now drawing 2, and you can dig in your deck further and further and further. And of course, you can set yourself up after sacrificing those creatures with something like Forever Young. Basically, get any number of target creature cards from your graveyard back on top of your library, draw a card, so you can then recast them again, draw further. And then, there's a lot of combo potential with this kind of a commander. There's a lot of exciting things you can do with it. And again, it's the type of commander that actually wants to be dealt with. Not many commanders want to go back to the command zone. This one does. I really like the design of Helzi Toolbox Story. And again, congratulations on your 5th place finish. Moving on, coming into 4th place, we've got Gyrson Starn Kellermorph, a 3/2 Tyranid human that costs 1 blue red, and it's got Ward 2, and it says 3 auto stubs. Whenever another source you control deals exactly 1 damage to a permanent player, Gyrson Starn Kellermorph deals 2 damage to that permanent or player. This is a very exciting commander, a very unique design, and one that can really take advantage of those tiny ping effects, essentially. Hey, a Tim player's dream, not just, players, who are named Tim, but players who like Tim creatures, the ones that ping 1 damage to something. So this essentially, hey, you dealt 1 damage, great, good for you. I'm going to help you out, deal 2 extra damage, and of course, since that damage is coming from your commander, there are a lot of exciting things that you can do with this. And yeah, Gyrson Starn, once you get things going, can do some pretty disgusting, pretty powerful, and pretty fun things for you. So now when it comes to cards that work well with it, those repeat damage effects can be great, like Roiling Vortex. Beginning of each player's upkeep, Roiling Vortex can deal 1 damage to them. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana is spent to cast it, it's going to deal 5 damage. You can also pay a red. Opponents can't gain life this turn. Yeah, so you can prevent life gain, which is huge to keep your opponents down. And then also, again, 3 damage essentially on each upkeep. That can add up a lot throughout the game. Again, 1 from the Vortex, 2 from your commander. And again, you can take even more advantage of your commander dishing out that damage. We'll talk about some ways here in a bit. But first, Mana Barbs, an absolutely brutal card with this commander. Whenever a player taps a land for mana, Mana Barbs deals 1 damage to that player. So, hey, every single time you tap a land for mana, that's 3 damage in total. And it's, turn 4 when I got this down or whatnot. So good luck. A Goblin Chain Whirler, one that does not hurt you, one that does very much hurt your opponents. Enters the battlefield, it's going to deal 1 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker they control. This can wipe out a lot of low-to-the-ground creatures and planeswalkers, and also punish your opponents by hitting them all in the face. Again, it's hitting your opponents in the face for 1, but your commander is hitting them for an extra 2. So yeah, just basically tripling up on your damage value. What's not to love about that? Thermal Alchemist. Cards like this, again, ones that can ping your opponents repeatedly. 0/3 Defender. It's going to tap and deal 1 damage to each opponent. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you untap it. This can dish out a ton of damage in a turn. Again, 1 becomes 3. If you're casting instant sorceries, that can be a lot. Speaking of a lot, Basilisk Collar, a lot of value it's going to provide you throughout the game. Chain creature has Death Touch and Lifelink, 2 keywords that are incredible with this commander. Again, Death Touch. Let's say you play that Goblin Chain Whirler. It's going to deal 1 damage to your opponents. But you know what? Let's just say we've got Gyrson Starn with a Basilisk Collar on it. Gyrson Starn is going to deal 2 damage to each creature. And those creatures are just gone. No matter how much toughness they have, because again, it has Death Touch. Lifelink on top of that will gain you life for all the damage that your commander is doing. So now again, when your opponents are, taking damage from your commander, again with something like Mana Barbs, when they tap things, they're going to take damage, you're going to gain life. And then even when you are, tapping your lands with Mana Barbs in play, sure, you take 1 damage, but you're actually going to gain 2. So you're actually netting life gain with that as well. So yeah, these 2 keywords are incredible on your commander. One other one that is also incredible on your commander is Corrupted Conscience. You control Enchanted Creature. That's nice, so you can steal an opponent's creature with this, or you can just put on your commander. Enchanted Creature has Infect. So now your commander just has to deal out, 10 damage in total to your opponents, which is very easy to get to, and they are gone. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting, a lot of cool things that you can do with this commander. And yeah, Tim players rejoice. Not just people named Tim, but people who love Tims. Gyrson Starn Kellermorph is a fantastic design, and my 4th place finish. Next up at 3rd place, we've got Alondo the Seer, a 3/5 human shaman for 2 green and a blue. Tap, draw a card, then exile a card from your hand, and put a number of time counters on it equal to its mana value. It gains when the last time counter is removed from this card. If it's exiled, you may cast without paying its mana cost. If you cast a creature spell this way, it gains haste till end of turn. Then remove a time counter from each other card you own in exile. Again, kind of like Ivy, hey, a commander that is Simic, but isn't just, hey, lands, draw cards. This one goes about value in a different way, a very unique way, and one that can be quite exciting, and one that can be quite cool. Again, it's basically like, hey, let's just start kind of suspending every single kind of card that we can and getting value out of them and, cast them for free and getting, time counters off them quite quickly when we do this. I mean, could be just one a turn, but of course we've got ways to make that even faster. And yeah, there's some really unique things that you can do with this commander. Now, when it comes to suspend cards, you can also utilize certain suspend cards too. Inspiring Refrain. Draw 2 cards, exile it with 3 time counters on it. It's got suspend for 3 and 2 in the blue. Now, basically, all you have to do is just actually, get this suspended already. Just suspend it on your own. That's fine. Then you can, instead of, having, 6 time counters on it, you are actually just going to have 3 on it. And every single time you tap Alondo, again, you can remove a time counter from it. So you can make this happen a lot quicker. It's going to keep re-exiling itself, resuspending itself, essentially. And you just get to keep drawing cards from it throughout the game very quickly. Speaking of value, Noble Betrayal, one of my favorite cards, spend 3 for 1 blue. Yeah, you're actually going to want to suspend this. Don't utilize Alondo to do it, because if you do, this is basically gone forever because it's got no time counters on it, and it will never be cast. But basically, hey, search target opponent's library for a creature card put on the battlefield that you control. Then that player shuffles, yeah, to steal the best creature in someone's deck. Hey, Blightsteel Colossus. That sounds fun. Regardless, yeah, definitely worth the 3 mana. And again, you can do this very quickly with Alondo. Next up, though, let's talk about some ways to untap our commander to, again, speed things up. Curious Follower. Hey, tap on a target permanent. That can be a land early on to help you ramp, but also, obviously, Alondo wants to be untapped, so you can tap, draw more cards, resuspend things, and then also, just keep getting those time counters off quicker and quicker. And, of course, yeah, I mean, again, Chalk and Retriever, another great way to untap your commander, but one that you can do so multiple times in a turn. Whenever you cast a spell during your turn to untap target creature, yeah, this can get quite ridiculous, can lead to some very explosive turns. Murkfiend Liege works about value in a different way. Other green creatures and blue creatures are going to get +1/+1, and then untap all green and or blue creatures during your control during each other player's untap step. Alondo, of course, is green and blue, but yeah, you're going to untap your commander on everyone's untap steps, and you're going to be able to utilize it again, with just one trip around the table and just this out 4 times in one round around the table. And also, you can get even more value to your commander with something like Thought Reflection. If you draw a card, draw 2 cards instead. Again, when Alondo is tapping, you're drawing a card, then you have to exile 1. Now you're going to be drawing 2 cards, just exiling 1, 2 from your hand. And yeah, you're actually netting a card essentially with this. So yeah, there's a lot of cool ways that you can get even more value out of Alondo. Again, it's not just your typical, hey, Simic, lands, draw cards. It goes about value in a different and exciting way. And again, Alondo, congratulations on your 3rd place finish. But now we are really getting up there. Let's move on to 2nd place with the Beamtown Boys, a 4/4 Ogre Devil Warrior, because that's a thing that has Vigilance and Haste that costs 1 black, red, green. Tap target opponent whose turn it is, puts target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard on the battlefield under their control. It gains haste goaded at the beginning of the next end step. Exile it. Basically, hey, I've got this creature from you from my graveyard, and I'd like to just donate it to you. Here, it's yours. You're welcome. Yes, of course, there are certain ways that you can utilize maybe some massive creatures to say, hey, sure, go attack that other player with this giant creature. But there are some slightly more, mean things that you can do this one. And yeah, it's just a very unique design. One that I definitely did not expect to see. One that was very surprising. And again, one that can utilize cards that essentially see no place elsewhere because they're kind of useless, but they're absolutely incredible with this commander. Okay, well, Auric Lore Mage is a great card in a lot of decks, but let's talk about some other ones after this. Anyways, Auric Lore Mage can set yourself up for these kinds of plays. Tap, search life for a card, put in your graveyard, then shuffle. So basically, hey, let's go get that exact creature that we need for the situation that we're in to give to an opponent with Beamtown Boys. And that card might be Eater of Days. Hey, I'm a 9/8 flying trample Leviathan for just 4 mana. Oh, and by the way, I have a slight downside, just a teeny tiny downside. When I enter the battlefield, you're going to skip your next 2 turns. So yeah, hey, opponent, I've got this Eater of Days in my graveyard. It's your turn. You may have it. Oh, cool. You get to swing with a 9/8 flying trampler at one of our other opponents. It's goaded. Oh, you lost 2 turns? I'm so sorry. That's terrible. I did not intend that. Neither did I, intend Hellcarver Demon to come into play under someone else's control. Hey, deals combination to player, sacrifice all other permanents you control and discard your hand. Exile the top 6 cards of your library. May cast any number of non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. They better hope they hit something good off the top of that because, hey, you basically just lost the game with this one play. I just gave you a 6/6 flyer. You're probably going to get through on an opponent because they're going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to block, so you just lose. They sacrifice every single one of their permanents they have, including lands. Then maybe they can cast something for free off the top, but yeah, they're not going to be able to rebuild what they lost with that. Next up, how about Phyrexian Negator? Speaking of losing things, whenever it's dealt damage, sacrifice that many permanents. Yeah, whatever opponent you're attacking is just going to block with basically everything they have on this, and then you have to sacrifice again basically your entire board. Or how about Everblade Reaper? Hurt multiple opponents, right? Hey, when it attacks, lose half your life, rounded up. That's not good for the player that you gave this to. When it deals combination to a player, the player loses half their life, rounded up. Hopefully they've got a blocker, because if not, they're going to lose a lot of life as well. Even a card like Jagged Pop, it can make a massive difference in a deck like this. Whenever it's dealt damage, discard that many cards. So, yeah, hey, unfortunately, you're going to have to swing again. That player is probably just going to team block this, and you're going to have to discard your entire hand. So, goodbye hand, goodbye value. Beamtown Bullies, again, can just utilize some very off-the-wall and just interesting cards. So, yeah, Beamtown Bullies, very interesting design. I really like it, and yeah, that's why it has finished at number 2. But now it's time for us to move on to number 1, the golden pig of this year of 2022, and that is Mr. Orfeo the Boulder, a 2/4 Rhino Warrior that costs 1 black, red, green. Whenever you attack, double target creature's power until end of turn. This is a very simple commander, but it has surprised me, and it's one of my favorite decks I have built this year. It just keeps surprising me with how much I enjoy playing this one. Again, very simple. Hey, just attack, double up something's power. Cool. It has a lot of potential and actually can hit harder than you might think it can. So yeah, Mr. Orfeo, I absolutely love playing my Mr. Orfeo deck, and yeah, that's why it finished at number 1 this year. When it comes to cards that work well with it, well, hey, there's a lot of creatures out there that have a lot of power already that are quite easy to get out, like, Primeval Protector, a 10/10 for 10 and a green, but you're never going to pay that. It's going to cost 1 less to cast for each creature bonus control, so this can cost as little as just a single green mana for a 10/10. On top of that, when it enters the battlefield, you get a counter on each other creature you control, so that's nice. So, yeah, I mean, hey, a 10/10. If I just swing with this or, something else, I can get that power up to 20 just right away. Or how about, like, Tuya Bearclaw, 8/2/2. When it attacks, it gets +X/+X until I turn where X the Grace power among other creatures you control. It can get even bigger than your biggest creature just by attacking. So, yeah, if you got Primeval Protector in play, you attack with your Tuya Bearclaw. That's going to be, what, a 12/12 that you can then double to a 24 damage, essentially, right? So yeah, you can essentially just get a 24 power creature quite quickly, quite easy with a commander like this. And yeah, the entire concept around my deck is, well, called Hotline Fling, so I'm going to be flinging these creatures at your face, so I might get through in combat as well, but I'm also just going to be sacrificing them, hitting you for their power. Fling, simple, instant for 1 and a red, sacrifice creature, deal damage equal to the power to any target. You can take out players in the blink of an eye. They can be at 40 life, and they're all of a sudden gone because Mr. Orfeo can double things up quite quickly. Or, you can keep those creatures around with some effects like, Gravitic Punch. Hey, it's a target creature deals damage equal to its power to target player. You can also jumpstart to do it again. So again, just casting this twice with a 20 power creature can take out basically any player. Mage Slayer, another great effect that doesn't make you sacrifice the creature, but still gives you that value. Whenever the creature attacks, it deals damage equal to its power to the player planeswalker it's attacking. So yeah, hey, just get this equipped up. Just swing with that massive creature, double it up. Have fun dealing out that much damage, or you can utilize your creatures in a different way with, something like Momentous Fall. Additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature. You draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power, then you gain life equal to its toughness. Yeah, have fun drawing 20 cards. And of course, there are plenty of ways to draw even more than that. Mr. Orfeo, again, very much surprised me. I really love this commander. I love playing this deck. And again, congratulations, Mr. Orfeo the Boulder, on your first place finish. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Those are my picks for the Golden Pig Awards of 2022, my favorite commanders from last year. I'm excited to see what commanders come out this year. And yeah, let me know what your favorite commanders from this year were. What are your thoughts on my picks? So yeah, let me know in the comments below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.